All right, so it's 9. Let's
So
begin.
we'll begin, yeah.
Sehna bhavatu Sehno Bhunattu Seh Viryam Karvavai Tejasvinam Vadetamastu Ma Vidvishavai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay.
Hey,
Namaste.
good morning. Good morning,
Namaste.
Paul.
Good morning.
Please.
So we'll begin today's session with chapter 3.17.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Yastu atmaratirev syad atmatriptascha manavah atmanyeva cha santushtas tasya karyanna vidyate.
Okay. So it says, he who, however, takes delight in the self alone and is gratified with the self, is contented in the self, he has no duty to perform. So in the last class, when we were doing verse 16, which said that Arjun, he who does not follow the wheel of action, which is set in motion, and he who does not perform his duties leads a sinful life and he lives in vain. So now he's saying the one who performs his duties, he is established in his self, and he has no duty to perform. So if you remember when we were doing the Sthita Prajna qualities, the first quality of the Sthita Prajna was Atmani eva Atmana Tushta. So he says that whoever is established in the self, he's content in himself, he has no duty to perform. He does it out of that contentment, out of that satisfaction, out of that correct knowledge that what we said last time, that he has received so much from this world, so he just simply gives it back. There is no like burden that I have to perform a duty, that I have to do this. There is no burden. He simply does it out of love, out of contentment, out of the true knowledge that it has to be done. So this is what this verse means. So we'll do the next verse, sir.
Naiva tasya kritena artho na kriteneha kaschana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschid artha vyapashrayah.
Yeah. So in this world, that great soul has nothing to gain by action, nor by abstaining from action, nor has he any selfish dependence of any kind on any creature. So he is not dependent on anybody for joy. That joy is so much within himself, it doesn't matter to him whether he's praised or criticized whether there is loss or there is gain, whether there is honor or there is criticism, it doesn't matter to him. He's happy. Yes. You have any question or something to say, Sunil ji? Aapka mic.
Fine. नहीं oh I
Acha.
नहीं
Okay. So his actions are not done with any small targets in mind. Ki if I do this, I will get this. For him, it's that inner peace which comes from the action, and he's happy with it. So last time we spoke about Tuladhar, who is a grocer, and from his job, he has learned to keep his mind balanced by keeping the balance of the scales of his balance where he's selling things. When he keeps that even, he has slowly learned to keep his mind even. Or if we take the example of Kabir, so Kabir was a weaver, and most of his poetry, if you see, he speaks about weaving, about the warp and the weft, about chadar, jeeni jeeni bini chadariya, all those bhajans. So how is it those people, they derive that knowledge from their job? The work which they have to do, they are so engrossed in it and so into it that that work gives them knowledge or wisdom. So this is what these two verses would mean. If you have any questions.
The first part is appears very simple, but I am finding it difficult to grasp in the sense, naiva tasya kritenartho.
Yeah.
That means he doesn't have anything to gain by doing something, by doing his
Yeah.
work.
Correct.
But he's doing those work.
Yeah. So the next.
So there must be a reason why he's doing that work.
Right. Correct. Very good question, sir. Because now the following verses will explain to you why he's doing the work, even though he does not need to do the work. It's like, let me answer you. You see, if there is a mother, like a mother who has children, so she plays with the children. She'll play hide and seek, she'll play dollhouse, or she will play anything. Now, why does she play? Because if she doesn't play, then the children will not play. There will be chaos. The children left to themselves will not do anything. So he does it because if he doesn't do it, then the people around him also will not do any work. He kind of becomes a model for society. So your question is very, very valid. And now all these following verses will answer your question and you will get it yourself. That's the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita. So when you have the questions, the answers are also there in the next verses. Okay, so we'll do the next verse. Tasmad asakta satatam.
Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara. Asakto yacharan karma param apnoti purushaha.
Yeah, so he says that therefore you go on doing your duty because from that work you will get that shanti, that contentment, that peace. And when you do that work without attachment, you will get the supreme, you will get the highest. But if you look for petty gains, then you will get petty gains. So basically, we get what we want and we get what we deserve. So if you are aiming high, then you will get the highest. And if you have petty, goals or petty desires or petty wishes from your work, then you will get only that. So he says, go on doing your duty without any attachment, and you will gain the highest. So then the next verse, it is through.
Ashaji,
Yes.
this advice is to a prince.
Yes.
Arjuna is a prince, no? One of
Correct.
the princes.
Right.
But to a pauper, this advice will be useful.
Okay. So now
Because
there's
the
money.
example that you gave of grocer, he is also a person with some means, no? He has some means at his disposal. But to a poor person, will this advice be useful?
Yes, sir. So this question is again very valid. So now, pauper and a king, Who's going to decide that? Who's a pauper? Who's a king? The king may have all the money in the world, but he'll never enjoy. He can live like a pauper. That apart, you see, money, not money, is really all in the mind. I have seen Dr. Jaidev. He ran such a big institute, and I said that he took a little amount of money for his sustenance. And I had seen in the earlier days there was no car at the institute. There were very few servants at the institute. The staff was 1/10 or maybe 1/20th of what it is now. And I know if he had to go outside, if somebody got married, he hardly went. But if he did choose to go, then he would say, he would tell someone, "Will you pick me up?" And people used to fight to pick him up, to take him in the car, to, take him where he wants. It was a matter of pride that I took him to so and so place. So, a pauper means, see, the food is provided by destiny. Everything is because of your destiny. You may be rich, but you may not get to eat. You may be a pauper, and there would be food available for you. So we are not talking about a man who's lazy, a man who is understands life and he does his work. He's not a lazy man. What would be the meaning of a pauper? The one who has no food to eat?
Today's situation, somebody, say, workers in shops which are closed, which are not
Yeah.
allowed to be opened.
Right.
So they do get food,
Yeah.
but they have no income.
Yeah.
So
True.
from that point
So,
of view.
yeah. You see, we have to look at the world very minutely. In this lockdown, there was one boy who came to me and his wife was pregnant. So he came and he said, "Ma'am, I have no money. Kuch paise nahi hai. Please paise de do." So I gave him some money for his wife for the delivery. Okay, then he said, "I have no job." So luckily in our building, the previous cleaner went away because of the lockdown. So I spoke to the committee and I said, "This boy is really hardworking and we should employ him, and he's not asking for much." So, well, we employed him, and then he said, "One job won't be enough for me." So I spoke around to a few people and I got him a job. Now, those people said, "We want your PAN card." So he has a PAN card. He didn't go to the work. He didn't go for the job. So they called me. They said, "This boy is not come." So I asked him, "Why haven't you gone?" So he says, I have the PAN card, but it is here, there. He gave me some story. Fine. Now we were paying him 3,000 for that same job. He was getting 10,000 over there. He didn't take up the job. He made some silly excuse. Then I called up. I found out that whenever he has extra money, he just drinks. Okay. Then I found him that, "Why are you doing that? Wife is pregnant. She's going to have a baby. You already have a child." So he says, "I have another job. They're also paying me 10,000." Then his wife came and she says, "He doesn't go to that job. All the money he gets, he drinks. He doesn't give me any money." So I said, "Well, then the money which I have given you, I'm going to cut from the pay because I can't give money to people who drink." So there must be many like him who are not able to work because of their own inherent drawbacks. And there are people, I have seen the milkman in the morning. He is doing such odd jobs in the morning to sustain himself. He has started getting bread for us, eggs for us, or, for the building people in the building. I see him and he takes a little profit, but he's doing that. He has started some other businesses. There are people who've started selling vegetables because vegetables are doing very good, fruits. So I have been watching people in this lockdown. Some are really working hard, and some are coming under the situation and crying and taking to drinking and smoking. So now these are all relative terms. The person who has his mind intact will definitely work because he has a sense of duty. That would be my view and my answer to this. So, yeah. So, when we read, then we'll summarize the full chapter. So, verse 21, if we go to.
Sorry. Can I?
Yes. Yeah, please. please.
No, I concur with Ashaji's view. You know, somehow over a period of time, let's say it's not moment to moment, but I also find that over a period of time in life we get exactly what we aspire for, ask for, deserve, call it what you will. But the results or what we get is a fairly accurate reflection of our intent as well as our effort. Yes, it will seem that the natural law is unjust to some and just to others. But as Ashiji rightly pointed out, if you dig a little deeper, so one who has constancy of purpose and awareness of duty does finally manage to reach. He or she is, not quite in want, and someone who may be extremely privileged does not have, wisdom and a sense of duty. He tends to squander away, or she tends to squander away whatever she has, and comes to a situation where, again, of indifferent means. I mean, that's just again, this is a subjective view of mine from observations. It's just that it concurs with what Ashaji said just now. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do verse 21, sir.
20.
Oh, sorry.
कर्मणैव
verse
हि
20.
संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि.
So he says that it is through action without attachment alone that Janak and other wise men attain perfection. Having in view the maintenance of the world order, Loka Sangraha, he's using the word Loka Sangraha, you should take to action. So he says, why should you act? For the reason of Loka Sangraha, for the well-being of society. And he's also mentioning Janak. Now, Janak was supposed to be a great king. He was a karma yogi. And Mithila, his country where he ruled, was supposed to be a very, very stable country on all fronts. Now, many stories are given about Janak. Janak had a teacher, Ashtavakra, and one day, Janak was his favorite disciple, and all the other disciples were very jealous of Raja Janak. And so, Ashtavakra one day created an illusion of fire, and the whole city of Mithila was burning. Not only the palace, but the whole city, and people were running helter-skelter. And Raja Janak looks at the fire, and he says, the wealth which is in me is permanent. Nothing is going to be destroyed. Now, what is that wealth he's talking about? The wealth which he's talking about is that inner peace. So he says nothing is going to be destroyed by this fire. That's why Janak is a total karma yogi. He looks after his duties. He's a king. He has to manage the country, and it's a lot of responsibility. But yet, at night, he sits down and he has discourses with his teacher. And many instances of his life and incidents of his life show that he is not attached to anything, but he yet does his duties. And why does a karma yogi do his duties? What is the motive? The motive is not selfish. The motive is Loka Sangraha, maintenance of the world order. So if a man has benefited and he has done a lot in the world and he has nothing more to gain, either money wise or contentment wise or anything, but yet he does it. Why? Because if he doesn't do it, the people around him will not do it. So it's that. Any questions, sir?
Loka Sangraha is a very beautiful concept.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that it comes again. It comes again after 2, 3 verses, I think in 25 or something, or 26. I think 25, yeah.
So
So,
it shows, order as well as cohesion. No?
correct.
People should be together.
Together, yeah.
Cohesion.
You see, yeah. See, we are definitely interdependent. We can't live in isolation. The wheel. So when he says that from food come beings, and where does food come from? From rain. Rain is that conducive environment in which food comes. And how does rain come? Through sacrifice. If all of us do our bit, then it's going to rain, and then the food is going to come, and then we are going to be sustained. The modern business talks about sustainability. What is sustainability? So, in this lockdown period, Harvard started a lot of free courses. Sustainability, create leaders with a purpose. That was the byline. Create leaders with a purpose. What is the purpose? What is sustainability? That the environment is not harmed. So, this concept is there in modern business also. Though the word may not be used, Loka Sangraha, but
Right.
yeah. Okay, so we go to verse 22.
No, 21. 21.
Sorry. Sorry. I'm very sorry. I will.
यद्यद् आचरति श्रेष्ठस् तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते.
Yeah. So he says, whatever a great man does, that very thing other men will do. Whatever standard he sets up, the generality of men will follow. So definitely, if the head of the family has immoral values, then the children are likely to be of that kind. If there is strong discipline and morality in the family, the head of the family practices it, then it runs down um, into the children. They say the apple does not fall away far from the tree. Even if that child does go berserk for a bit, he comes back. So you see, the foundations have to be strong. And yeah, there's too much to say on this verse, but I guess it won't be enough. So if you all have to say something, please share your views. Anybody?
Yeah, I think it's actually almost self-evident. In every area of life we see, we all
Yeah.
first of all, we all learn by imitation.
Right.
Starting from the family, we observe our parents, we observe our teachers, and we observe our, friends and co-students.
Yeah.
So anybody whom we look up to becomes a role model for us.
Correct.
And therefore, it's a duty of the role model to exemplify behavior which can
exactly. Yeah.
It's almost. It's goes saying almost.
Yeah. So all the corruption, all the negativity, all the disorder in the world starts from the top. So people just follow. It's only the very few who rule the world. The rest is all the herd mentality. You just follow. So it becomes the responsibility of the one who's taken up that position at the top to function in the correct manner. It's a great responsibility. So should we do the next verse or do you have anything to say? Mahendra sir, आपको कुछ कहना है?
A very important verse, Sasha ji. I think.
Yes, please.
Yad
Yes.
acharat shrestha.
Yeah.
The elders do, the youngsters follow.
Correct.
So set explained beautifully this. In fact, this is one of the very verses of the.
True.
It's very 100% applicable to the practical life. Consider the example of a modern office.
Mm.
Doesn't come in the office, in the school of see, unless the teacher establishes his own character, it's likely that the student may not obey. Even in the family, go on speaking and teaching children, we have to uh, uh, show our acharan as well as establish our credential. A yardstick landmark has to be established, and that alone is followed by youngers. So I think in everyday life also, the earlier also when you know that they are teachers
Yeah, very true, sir. So we have to walk the talk. True. Yes, sir. This is true. So the person at the top has to walk the talk. He just can't talk. And also it's a lesson for us from this verse that if we are on this path of self-development, if we are on this path of self-improvement, then we have to peep into the life of the great and imbibe what we can from their lives and try to follow it ourselves. So they have set examples for us, and it is our duty to follow those examples and not do what we want. Yes. So shall we go to verse 22 now?
yes.
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि.
Yeah. So he says, Arjun, there is no duty in all the three worlds for me to perform, nor is there anything worth attaining which is unattained by me. Yet I continue to work. Now, if God stops working, there is going to be chaos. Prakriti left to itself is going to be a chaotic. Prakriti is blind. Purusha can see, but he's lame. They both need each other, but you need to guide the people. So, sir, does this answer your question? Why should we work? There will be chaos if the person at the top does not work. The person at the top is God. So, okay. So, shall we do verse 23?
Yes, please. यदि ह्यहं न वर्तेयन् जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः.
Right. So he says, why should I work? Because if I do not engage in action scrupulously at any time, great harm will come to the world. For Arjun, men follow my way in all matters.
Tandra, what is the meaning of the word tandra? Atandritaha.
Atindrataha, without relaxation. Without any relaxation, that if I do not constantly work, then people will also, if I take it easy for a minute, then people will say, okay, even we'll take it easy for a minute. So the karma yogi is constantly engaged in action. Now here the constantly engaged in action would also mean the karma would mean that karma yogi is constantly without stopping in the awareness of God. He doesn't lose awareness even for a moment. Coming back to Raja Janak and coming back to the story which Sunil ji had shared last month about Raja Janak being constantly aware and yet carrying out the duties, and the person who comes is made to sleep on the bed with a dagger hanging over his head. And he says that, how could I sleep? Because I was all the time aware of the dagger. So Janak says that I'm all the time aware of God. And that's how, you see, how the story also started is that this man comes to Mithila. And he comes to Mithila and he says, I've heard a lot about Mithila and I've heard it's a land of yogis. So who is the yogi who's going to teach me about Atmagyan? So the people say, go to the Raja. So he says, why should I go to the Raja? The Raja is staying in the palace. And isn't there any yogi who's in the forest who's left everything? So they said, no, the Raja is the highest yogi. So the man is surprised. And this is how the story comes into being. So though he is there in the kingdom carrying out his duties, he doesn't lose awareness of that principle, of that permanent principle which is running us, of that God, of that Purusha, of that Atman, or whatever name you call it. So this is what he means, that without relaxation. Right?
Chandra in Marathi,
Yeah.
Chandra in Marathi means some kind of daydreaming.
Ah, okay.
So that's why I was asking, what is the
Yeah.
meaning of Atandritaha?
Yeah. So relaxation kind of, without daydreaming, without relaxing.
No, or if my mind is on the outcome,
Yeah,
then
true.
then
Can
I
be.
also start daydreaming.
Right.
What will
Like Sheikh Chali. Okay. So then, shall we do verse 24?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
उत्सीदेयुर् इमे लोका न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं संगरस्य च कर्तास्याम् उपहन्याम् इमाः प्रजाः.
Right. So he says that if I don't act, if I cease to act, then these worlds would perish. I will prove to be the cause of confusion and of the destruction of these people. So he says, so I have to work. Again, he's stressing the point that we have to work. There is no escape and there is no slackness. You see, vigilance is the price you have to pay. Constantly being aware of your duties. See, Vishwamitra, he lost his balance and he was attracted to Menika. So you can't relax even for a moment because these senses, they in your mind anytime and you can lose your balance. So the balance has to be perfect. You have to be established in sattva. So you go on, emphasizing this sattvastha. Conquer the gunas and be established in sattva. There's no going back to rajas or tamas. So, any questions?
No.
Shall-
Yeah, we can go to the next one. Yes,
Yes.
please.
Yeah.
सक्ता सक्ता कर्मण्यविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षु लोक संग्रहम्.
Correct. So he says, so hard with attachment, so should the wise man with a view to maintain the world. Again, the word comes loka sangraha. He should act without attachment. See, the unwise people, how much they toil. People are supposed to work for 8 hours in a day. People work in a day. How much they exert. But the wise man, he exerts, but his purpose is totally different. His purpose is to maintain world order. No selfish motive. Again, that definition of yajna, to reimburse, to give back to society what we've already received. So he works with that kind of an attitude, that attitude of giving, because I've already received so much, that now it is my duty to reimburse, to return. And when that attitude comes, then everything is for the good. So these verses are actually very self-explanatory. And yeah, if we have any views, we can share, or we can move on.
This is also a verse with a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
In the sense, both the attached person and the detached person may act with the same vigor.
Correct.
With the same vigor, but
Right.
the
Purpose.
the person who is detached will show a different quality.
True. So there has to be a change in the goal of activities. You see, what is the goal when I do something? What is my purpose? What is my motive? That is very important. You know, so many people come to learn yoga. Okay, now people come, I want to lose weight. Last week there was this girl, and she's 20, she's appearing for this medical exam. She's quite overweight. And then she tells me, Asha aunty, can you please teach me some exercises so that this part, which is seen on screen, looks good? Okay, so upper part of the body. So I said, okay. Now, instead of studying and working hard to get into the medical examination, the emphasis is that I should look good. My clavicular should look good. This is the word she used because she's appearing for medical. And can you teach me those exercises which will make my face and my neck and my shoulders look slim and trim? Now, the goal has to be different. You see, when you do yoga, if the goal is okay, that my mind will be peaceful, I will be able to absorb more, that um, I will be calm, I will not be perturbed by the questions of the interviewer. When those kind of things come in our mind, then the, losing weight or the physical um, benefits would naturally come. If the byproducts which come, they are anyway going to come. You're anyway going to lose weight. You're anyway going to do that. But when you have this, that I want to do it for a purpose of, stabilizing my mind, that will also happen. So Vinoba Bhave very beautifully says that if a person gets up in the morning and he does Surya Namaskar with the view of losing weight or, maintaining his body, then he will get that benefit. But if the person, he gets up in the morning and he does the Surya Namaskar with the view of, submitting to the sun god, by asking for intellect, by asking for wisdom, by asking for radiance, or, light, then he will get that benefit also, and he'll get the benefit of the body also. So why don't we have a higher benefit? He says that if like the Ganga, which is flowing from the matted locks of Shiva, he says when a person goes, a scientist goes and he says, what is this? H2O, water. It's just a combination of hydrogen and oxygen. What is it? Why are people worshipping this so much? But the person who really worships the Ganga, his mind is purified. He has those thoughts in his mind that it has come from Shiva, it has crossed the mountains. So many sages are doing tapa on the banks of the river Ganga. It never gets polluted. The water is always pure, and he gets added benefit. So he says that attitude has to be different. That change in the goal of activities. Why am I earning? I'm earning to sustain myself. But also, is my business, is my work creating havoc in society? Am I ruining the health of people? What am I doing? If I am teaching yoga, am I adulterating it? If I am selling some product, am I like if I'm growing, a farmer, if he is growing some crops, is he using unnecessary hormones or something to inject in the vegetables, which we see? Is he adding food color that is going to harm society? He is going to get extra money. What is he going to do with that money? So these are questions which come up.
That example, Vinobaji's example that you gave, Ashaji, just now, that Surya Namaskar,
Yeah.
that reminded me of one. Recently, we had a discussion with some younger people, and in management, they are very fond of saying that we should work with passion.
Passion.
They say, and this is usually the American way of doing things.
Yeah.
They
Correct.
do it with passion.
Passion. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I was saying that we see the same kind of concentration and in work,
Yeah.
but we use the word devotion and dedication.
Exactly.
So what you were that Vinobaji's example of Surya Namaskar, I am
Right.
dedicating myself.
Absolutely.
As
Very
you said,
true.
I am surrendering to the sun god
Yeah.
or to the greater good,
Yeah.
like Loka Sangraha and other things which are being mentioned here.
Right.
So, to me, this verse 325 is
Yeah.
a very fine way of explaining
Yeah.
dedication and passion,
True. Very true,
the
sir.
difference.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sunilji may like to add
Yeah.
something on this. Because in
Yeah.
management, they always say, no, passion, passion, passion.
Good.
And I
So
now
after
it doesn't gel with me, this passion thing. But now
After
I
Sunil-
see the explanation here
Yeah.
in
So after
3.25
Sunilji
and the
finishes,
verses before that.
right. I will also like to talk about this passion. Sunilji, first you, and then I'll talk about passion.
Okay. No, I was only saying that Vinobaji's other example of the rivers, actually, now science has also very clearly demonstrated that the crystalline structure of water is such that it is able to absorb and retain, the subtler thoughts and ideas of the person who's engaging with it. So the kind of thoughts that you try and infuse in the water actually stay and affect the structure. So really, Ganga is now literally not just another source of water, but because Lord Shiva comes from the glaciers and because people have done tap on its banks for thousands of years, its waters have actually been infused with a different quality altogether.
Right.
Right? And that's why when they say Ganga Jal kharab nahi hota,
Yeah.
of course, humanity has done much to, undo all the positive effects of the sages by all the pollution, etc. But the reason is that कि उसके जो the deeper जो उसके attributes हैं गंगा के जल के, वो इस तरह से हैं, उतने strong हैं, इतने positive हैं कि उसको बहुत जल्दी दूषित करना मुश्किल रहता है. I mean, right? तो हाँ, passion से उसको दूषित करोगे तो जरूर हो जाएगा.
Yeah. True.
Please, over to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, sir, what you said about this American word and passion, it's so much running in the corporate world. I recently gave a talk to Marks and Spencer's HR department, the heads. And one of the girls, I think I shared it last time. One of the girls spoke about laying the table with passion. Laying the dining table with passion, and her husband disorganizing the dining table. So then she said it creates a lot of disturbance in my mind. So I said, so we are so weak that we can even allow the dining table to be a cause of conflict in our marriage. So then she says, oh yeah, it's become a cause of conflict in my marriage. So I said, so what do you have to do? So she said, I have to stop. So I said, all right, then stop. So you see, they are so much into it that they don't understand that how these little things, which they term passion, is breaking relationships. And they are human resource, HR heads. They are not they are MBAs, they are highly educated people. And this is what they fight over in their day-to-day life. It was so sad when I heard that. Well, anyway, so that is it. So now we go to the next verse.
Sorry, I can't resist saying that MBAs today are highly trained but poorly educated.
Yeah. So, okay. So, verse 26.
विभेदं जनयेद् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरेत्.
Hmm. So, a wise man established in the self should not unsettle the mind of the ignorant people who are attached to action. But the wise man should go get them to perform all their duties, duly performing his own duties. So again, he's a model. When he does it, the other people do it. So basically, what it says that you build up a rapport with people. Don't criticize people. Don't put them down. Don't tell them, don't do this, don't do that. You don't know to do this and you don't know to do that. Just be quiet and do your job. They will come around if they want to. And if they don't want to, well, accept it. At least we should not get down to that level. You can't really change anybody. So it also means that the motive behind our work should not be to change others. There should be no motive. It should be total disinterest. I am doing my job. I do it because I need to do it. Very often we may do it as a show that if I do it, then the others will do. No, I should do it because I have to do it. I give because I have received. I don't give so that I get. In no way. So this is what this verse would mean. Build up a rapport with the people around you. Any questions, comments?
No, really, all we can do is set an example.
Yes.
As you rightly said, it's impossible to change anybody. In fact, it's violent to change anybody.
Absolutely.
But and so, which again emphasizes the message, in the previous verses, that I have to continue to set an example for others.
Right.
Both to maintain the order and to show them the way so that they can also act accordingly.
Again, then to show them the way should not be my motive. I do it. If they learn, well and good. If they don't, I do it. You know the one who really does karma yoga, who is a karma yogi, he does more than others. See, it's a lot of tapa because there is going to be frustration for people like us. If we start this path, there is going to be frustration because we are going to see people not doing the right things. But then one has to keep quiet. One has to remain santushta in one's own self. That is very important. I'll give you an example. You see, using plastic bags, carry bags. So the fruit man at our house delivers fruit. He has stopped getting the fruit in his jhola, which he did. Now he gets it all separately in plastic bags. So the girl who works in our house, whenever the fruit comes, I empty it out. I straighten the bags very nicely, fold it, and then I give it back to him when he comes next. So now that day I saw this girl in the kitchen, my girl, she just took all the bags and she threw it in the dustbin. Now, okay, so then I just later on, I casually remarked, I said, "Aaj theli fek diya tune?" So she says, "Itna ganda tha. It wasn't dirty. How can it be dirty? There were just apples and oranges. It wasn't even raining that day." So I said, "Fine. She won't understand what it is to, save plastic." I said, "All right, each to his own. I can't even educate her. But when it comes, then I do it. But then if she learns, it's fine. She's going to be temporary anyway. She will go. Somebody else will come. How much can you educate?" So people have fights over it. We have to do our bit. We can't change the world. We cannot do that. But we cannot move away from our path. That's also very important. Okay, so verse 27.
कृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते.
Yeah. So now all the actions which are done by the modes of Prakriti. We all are a product of the gunas. And the person whose mind is deluded by egoism, he thinks I am the doer. So now how do we look at this verse? So we have to create an understanding of the larger factors which influence us. You see, in this, there is this verse which talks about restraint in 3.33. So all these ideas will slowly come into light as we go on reading the further. Krishna puts in an idea and then he goes on explaining it in the following verses. And then we are able to understand. So now he's talking about gunas. So how does this I sense come into us? This I sense comes. How does this I sense come into us? Any answers?
See, so I think the moment we look out into the world, using our senses, we find the world as separate from me, the self,
Correct.
right? And
Yeah.
that's when I think the division between oneself and the rest of the universe.
True. Very true. Very, very true. Yes. So then we forget. We get deluded by Prakriti.
Right.
Right? We forget our true nature, the nature of the self. We are not happy with the self. We are not Atmani eva Atmana tushta. So what is it?
Ahankar is also the result of the gunas, the Rajoguna and the Tamoguna.
Correct.
Getting
Yes.
precedence over Sattva-guna.
Yeah, true.
So
Very
this is
true.
also one way in which the Prakriti acts.
Yeah. The intellect gets crowded. That's
Yes.
why he already put in the ideal of the Sthita Prajna in chapter 2. At no point can we lose our balance. Constant awareness of the consciousness principle. Mahendra sir, would you like to say something?
Ahankar Vimur in the Sankhya, really. From 20 onwards, I think this up to 24, the Lord has said, why should you act?
Yeah.
And now, if you are convinced, should you act? Now, here the question. The 25th says, work without attachment. 27, 26 says, perform your duties. He says, who the person who's Vimurhatma is a different character, in fact. He thinks that he is
Yeah.
that should not be reflect in our work, the action. So the action is such that we must realize that is being done by the interchange of the trigunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, and we should work accordingly and reduce our ego in each and every. I think that's how he wants to convey the message.
Right.
Should not inflate your ego because that is not the fact also.
Correct.
Yes.
True. True, true. Very true. Yes. The action is for purification of the mind.
In the next is also was talking about
Yeah.
how
Correct. So now the open verses are going to, you know, elaborate on this.
Yes.
Yeah. So we go to 28, sir. Tattvavitu Mahabaho.
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते.
Yeah. So, however, he who has true insight into the respective spheres of the guna and their actions, holding that it is the gunas in the form of senses, mind, etc., that move among the gunas, does not get attached to them. So, we can do the next verse also, then we will explain both these together.
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु
Yes.
तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन् न विचालयेत्.
Yeah. So, those who are completely deluded by the gunas remain attached to those gunas and action. The man of perfect knowledge should not unsettle the minds of those ignorants of imperfect knowledge. So, one, he says, you understand the division between the gunas, between the qualities and their function. And second, he says that, okay, we'll do the second later. So, now this verse 28. We have to understand, we have to remain aware that these, what Mahendra sir rightly said, that these gunas, how they influence our mind, how the rajogun takes over, how the tamogun takes over, and how the intellect is clouded, and how the discrimination, the real viveka buddhi goes away, where you do not, you're not able to discriminate correctly between the real and the unreal. And then how the I sense takes over. So the man, the karma yogi, is ever aware of all these things. He doesn't lose his balance even for a moment. He doesn't lose his knowledge even for a moment. He's totally established in that balanced mind. So I don't know what you would say. We've already understood this. Yes, sir? So we can't hear you. Mahendra, sir, are you saying something?
No, no.
No? Okay. Okay, okay. Ashutosh, sir, would you like to say something? Or is it clear?
Somewhere here, we are also bringing the connectivity with the aspect of Vairagya, as in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the first chapter itself, as he mentions about the Param Vairagya. There he says, Tat Param Purusha Khyater Guna Vaitrushnam. Getting rid of the gunas, overcoming the gunas, and having the ultimate knowledge of the Purusha, that is the Param Vairagya, which ultimately leads us into what you can say Samadhi or Vibhij Samadhi. So Guna Vaitrushnam here, and this, the explanation in right from 25, 26, 27 that we are going through, from passion to become dispassionate. So this is a very good lesson and connectivity that we are coming across, the two texts. A very beautiful learning is going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sabir Bhai, for bringing out the sutra concept. Yeah. So how would we look at it?
I think
Would we-
this would need some explanation. Guna guneshu vartante.
Yeah, the gunas move among the objects.
Yeah.
You see, all this prakriti, the play of prakriti comes into being when the gunas are in imbalance. When there is imbalance in the gunas, then the play of prakriti comes. Then the gunas, then a man gets deluded. Then the senses, the objects, all of it comes because of the imbalance in the gunas. Prakriti starts like that. So, Sunil ji, would you like to elaborate on this Sankhya thing? about the imbalance
Yeah.
of the gunas and the world
Really.
coming into
Correct.
being.
So, so what, in effect, it takes us back to our discussion on connectedness a little more than a month back. So every little change that we see in the world around us is linked with every other entity and a change that is happening. So there is no independent agency as such. Whether it's with a human being, whether it's with an animal, whether it's with a plant, everything is happening of itself. Right? So that's why the reference to Ahankar in the previous verse, it's only an illusion. The illusion of the separate self leads us to think that I have the power of agency, of being able to make something happen, or being able to do something. Now, this is, a complete myth. So when good ही में बरत रहे हैं, I understand this means that the world is moving by its own self. It doesn't need our help. It doesn't even utilize our help. So let the world be, the way it is. You don't have a choice, but it's better to voluntarily. You let the world be the way it is, and you just carry out what is, what appears to you to be the thing to do. In other words, you just keep carrying out your duty and allow the world to move with its own rhythm.
Okay.
Don't bring the power of the agency. Don't bring the doer thing here, because it's just it's a myth.
Okay. So okay.
See, my mind is going back to Vinobaji, and he has gathered his fellow prisoners. They have been jailed because of their participation in Satyagraha, freedom struggle. Now, their participation in the freedom struggle and opposition to the British is also part of the gunas. And it is this whole thing of gunas acting on gunas which has brought them into the jail. And he is now explaining this to his fellow inmates. This is a very, I would say, astounding spectacle. It's a very astounding thing. And then he's saying that let us understand this. Tattvavit Mahavaho. Let us detach ourselves and understand this. So, in a way, he has done such a great service to his fellow inmates that he has not told them that we are suffering, we are in pain. No, let us detach ourselves and understand all this. So his Gita Pravachana, in a way, is that effort to become Tattvavit, understand the essence of what is happening to us.
Yeah.
So I am placing it in the context of Gita Pravachana.
Yeah.
Of Vinobaji.
Yeah. So the person understands that the gunas are at play, that what is prompting them to action, what is prompting them to inertia, what is prompting them to discriminate between the two. Why is it happening? The senses are going to attract you. They are of Rajogun. Next, he's going to explain the Rajogun why are we attracted towards the senses? Because of the Rajogun. They are influencing our mind, and we get attracted to them, and then we function. But the man who's established in Sattva, he understands that it is the play of this Rajogun which is creating the desire in me and which is clouding my mind. So we are going to come to this at the end of this chapter. And then we will discuss. So now he says that the man of perfect knowledge should not unsettle the mind of the ignorant of imperfect knowledge. So do your work. Do not set the others. Let everybody move at their own pace. And by being a model, we guide them, not consciously, but we stick to our state of sattva and we function. So we go on to the next verse.
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर् निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः.
So he says, now therefore dedicating all actions to me with your mind fixed on me, the self of all, freed from desire and the feeling of me, and cured of mental agitation, fight. So he's telling Arjun that all this, what is clouding you, confusing you, understand it's just the play of the gunas. Do your duty. Dedicate all your actions to me, who's beyond sattva. He's not saying that, but dedicate all your actions to me with your mind fixed on me, free from desire, free from the rajogun, free from the desire, free from I, and cured of mental fever. What is that mental fever? The mental anxiety that what will happen, my uncles will die, my teacher will die. Anxiety is why? Because of the fruit. Don't let this agitate you. Simply do your duties. Don't let the gunas cloud you. Do your duty. Thinking of me at all times with your mind fixed on me. There is no I sense here. I am not doing it. Arjun is not fighting the war because of some personal gratification. It is for the greater good, because Duryodhan, who's beyond repair, has to be killed.
It is Prakriti is not fate, isn't it? It is
Prakriti
not
is not-
destiny.
Sorry?
Prakriti is not fate or destiny.
No, Prakriti is not fate or destiny. How I use Prakriti by my using my intellect, by my sattvic intellect, that is my destiny. Prakriti is nothing. Prakriti is jad. It only provides opportunities for me. It's not guiding me. Consciousness is guiding me. And then my destiny is shaped. But if I don't want to pay attention to the consciousness, well, like Duryodhan does not want to pay attention to his consciousness. Bhim is also a glutton. He is also a very rajasic person. But he pays attention to Yudhishthir. He's under control of that sattva. But Duryodhan is beyond control.
I was reading somewhere, I think just yesterday, that in the Mahabharata somewhere it stated, Duryodhana also says that, look, I know that, I know what is the right thing, what to be done and not to be done. Yet I am attracted to this other path. As if, helpless. I'm just simply, I'm not sure he uses that language, but just that it is the play of the gunas, which, despite my somewhere latent better judgment, I'm so attracted to this path that I'm helpless in just, helplessly following that my own. So that's again another thing, that गुण जो हैं वो गुणों के हिसाब से अपने आप चलते जाते हैं. आप that is why the whole effort is simply to maintain a very razor sharp intellect. So you have to cut through the hypnosis provided by the gunas. And the intellect is the only weapon you have. So if you, so जितना आप ज़्यादा intensity से करेंगे उतना you have a better chance of, cutting through. Otherwise, we just flow with the way gunas are guiding us.
Arjun has this question in verse 36. So now we'll do 34, 35, and then we'll come to this thought in verse 36.
वैसे सुनील भाई, टू ऐड योर टॉप वर्ड्स, हमारे मराठी में एक कहावत है, कळतय पण वळत नहीं, और वो उसका मतलब ये होता है कि सब कुछ जानते हैं लेकिन इतना जानने के बावजूद भी जो करना है वो हम कर नहीं पाते. और उसमें कहीं ना कहीं हमारा ईगो, हमारे गुण सब उसके ऊपर एक्ट करते हैं। और ये बात है, अभी वो आशुतोष सर भी समझ गए कि हाँ ये कहाँ कनेक्ट करना है। बाकी आशा मैडम ऑल्सो नोज मराठी, so she can also connect to that. But at the same time, this is how it is, it is everybody's stature. हम भी इतना फिलोसॉफी की जानकारी रहती है, इतना टेक्स्ट को पढ़ते हैं, बार बार पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन जब छोटी छोटी बातें जब हमारे ईगो से रिलेटेड हमको पकड़ के खींचती है ना, तो वहां पर डिसीजन नहीं ले पाते, एंड वी फ्लो इन द अटैचमेंट, सो दैट्स वेयर वी कमिट मिस्टेक्स।
True, true.
Very, very true, Sabra.
Very true. So we'll do 31.
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवा श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेपि कर्मभिः।
Yeah. So we'll do 32 also.
ये त्वे तदभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् अचेतसः।
Yeah. So he says, even those men who with an uncavilling mind, uncriticizing mind, a devout mind, always follow this teaching of mine, are released from the bondage of all actions. But they, however, who finding fault with this teaching of mine, do not follow it, take those fools to be deluded in the matter of all knowledge and lost. So he says that following with faith is the essence. Follow what I have said. Do your work, do it in a disinterested way, do it for loka sangraha, and you will be freed from the bondage of karma. Karma will become your ladder to success. Karma will free you, karma will purify you if you do it with the right spirit. And he says, those who have faith in this teaching of mine, even if you don't understand these concepts, you hold on to one thing, that I have to do my duty without attachment, that I will get what I want, I will get the best, I will get much more than I need. When I have that faith, then I'm free. But if I go on doubting this, I go on criticizing this, I go on finding fault with this, then I work with desire, I work with the intention of getting the fruit, then there is no gain for me. There is no higher gain for me. I'm lost. I'm a fool. Then there is no liberation for me. So this is what these two verses say. Those who do not believe in the Karma Yoga thinking, ultimately they will suffer. And those who believe in that Karma Yoga thinking, that I have to do the work because I'm supposed to do it, they will finally be successful. They will finally be liberated. So we can just discuss a bit because we have 2 minutes left.
And you see, Arjuna was fortunate in this situation to have the Lord by his side. Of course, in everyday life, we don't have the Lord in a finite form, but we have the Lord resident within, which kind of keeps sending us the message of so that is the guidance that we have to keep imbibing. And then having full faith in the guidance, we simply go ahead and carry out those actions.
Right. Vinoba Bhave says in chapter 2, do not delude yourself that you don't have Krishna with you. Krishna is not only for Arjun. Krishna is there in every one of us to guide us. It's just that if you remove that desire element, then that Krishna is shining there to guide you. So now, how does this desire element come about? We will be doing in our next class, which will be talking only about how this desire gets into us.